Please be seated now. Our service is about to begin. We ask that you please silence your cell phones. We welcome guests and visitors, members and friends, everyone gathered here this morning and virtually live on Facebook. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision open your heart. My name is Nancy Watson, and I am your worship associate this morning. I am a member of this congregation and currently serve as a worship associate, an usher. I help with the coffee hour, and I coordinate the road cleanup every 3 months. Our worship service today is led by Reverend Charlie Dieterich. After a first career as a television system designer, Charlie Dieterich changed directions, attended Star King School for the Ministry in Berkeley, California, and then interned for 2 years in New Orleans. He was ordained by UUC SJS on September 30th, 2012. Serving the congregation for 3 years. He then moved to Norfolk, Virginia, and Erie, Pennsylvania. Then retired home to Kingston in central New Jersey. Although no longer a parish minister, Charlie remains active in the UU Trauma Response Ministry, uutrm.org. A few announcements this week. The Greenlight Coffee House is making a comeback. We need people who are willing to make that happen. If you are interested, speak with Katie Cardwell or Deb Dagnavarian. We have been trying to plan an emergency evacuation drill for several months. According to our emergency evacuation action plan, we need 12 volunteers for the evacuation team. If you can volunteer, please reach out to Marty Quish or Jessica Dunn Safanoff. All are welcome to attend the monthly meeting of the UUCSJS Board of Trustees this Thursday, June 8th at 7 p.m. here in the sanctuary or on Zoom. There will be a second collection to benefit the Eastern Service Workers Association next Sunday on June 11th. And Colby has an announcement for us.
When you came in, I think you all may have noticed the pride flags in the foyer. I hope each one of you takes one and also a sticker. Let's reflect our commitment to love. Yeah.
Thank you, Colby. Join us next Sunday for Reverend Carol Haig on Unsung Story. We will tend to celebrate a person who speaks long and loudly, who makes waves, who causes visible change. However, often it is another who has plowed the ground and prepared the way for the well-known person to become famous. Video of today's service will be available to you on YouTube channel later today. If you care to tweet during today's service, you can use the hashtag UUCSJS. This is not a tale of magical bowls and enchanted chalices. This is a story about awareness and subways. Come join the party. Welcome to worship.
Stars shining right above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in a sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Do-dum, da-dum. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and Dum 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 dum. Sweet dreams to leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, wherever they be, dream a little dream of me. But in your dreams, wherever they be, dream a little dream of me. But in your dreams, wherever they be, dream a little dream of me.
So whenever I come back here, I remember one important thing, which I'm sure none of you notice anymore. But that is that everyone in the United States of a certain age knows Atlantic City, right? They know because it's a grid, right? And they all know that Atlantic and Pacific are right next to each other, right? And they know that St. Charles Place is next to New York Avenue. They just know these things intrinsically. And that's one of the cool things. I mean, Egg Harbor City is the same sort of idea, but you have to be German to understand that one. But our opening words this morning are from the Reverend Ken Patton, who was a minister in Boston, Massachusetts, a city where the streets made sense to cows. And so when the congregation assembled, first of all, they didn't drive. Nobody drives in Boston, if they're lucky. Instead, they would walk and show up, and that would be it. And anyway, so he realized this and wrote these opening words. We arrive out of many singular rooms, walking on the branching streets. We come to be assured that kindred souls surround us, to restore their images to our eyes. We enlarge our voices in common speaking and singing. We try again that solitude found in the midst of those who with us seek their hidden reckonings. Our eyes reclaim their remembered faces. Their voices stir the surrounding air. The warmth of their hands assures us, and the gladness of our spoken names. This is the reason of cities, of houses, of assemblies in the houses of worship. It is good to be with one another.
Our chalice lighter today is Geraldine McCluskey. Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words in your order of service. We light our chalice today, knowing that our hope and our passion are needed to change the world. We bring different gifts to the work, but we come together in one faith, that what we do makes a difference, both to our world and in ourselves. Please rise now in body or spirit and sing our gathering hymn 21, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Sing it with me, children. It's beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the beauty to sound and sight. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
So this morning we have an ancient story to tell. It's based on 2 lines of a 2,500-year-old poem by a Chinese philosopher called the Old Master. The 2 lines were kind of hard to understand, so 300 years later, a Chinese writer made up a story about them. And Reverend Charlie was very helpful and gave this to me to share with you all. I don't know, you guys can't see, but it's written in Chinese.
Jess, I think your mic is muted.
Is that better? All right. But also, he was very helpful in giving us a little skit to perform for you today. So I'm going to ask Mike and Maxine to come up. They're going to be participating in our skit. But you all are also going to be part of our skit. So you're going to be the townspeople. So during different parts of the skit, I'll say, the town people said, and I'll give you your line. And when I point to you, you have to repeat the line. Shall we try it out?
Sure.
So the town people said, we are the townspeople.
We are the townspeople.
Oh my gosh, like professionals. Excellent work. All right, are we ready? All right. Many years ago, an old farmer lived near the frontier. One day, his horse ran away. The townspeople heard that this had happened. They came to mourn his loss, saying, "You have bad luck."
You have bad luck.
Old farmer went to the wise town elder asking,
Why do I have bad luck? I have no horse to pull my plow for planting.
The elder said,
Who knows if that might bring good luck?
1 week later, the farmer's horse returned with 4 wild horses. The townspeople heard that this had happened. They came celebrating, saying, "You have good luck."
Good luck.
The old farmer went to the wise town elder asking,
Do you see my good luck? Now I can plow my field and ride a fine horse into town.
The elder said,
Who knows if that might bring bad luck?
the farmer's son was taming one of the wild horses. He fell off and broke his leg. The townspeople heard that this had happened. They came to mourn, saying, "You have bad luck."
You have bad luck.
The old farmer went to the wise town elder asking,
Why do I have bad luck? Now I have horses, but my son cannot work.
The elder said,
Who knows if that might bring good luck.
The nation went to war. The army came and took all the young men to be soldiers, but they did not take the farmer's son because he had a broken leg. The elder heard this and said,
Misery is what happiness rests upon. Happiness is what misery lurks beneath. Who knows where it will end?
We will now light the children's religious education lantern. We light this lantern for our children and youth and for us, celebrating the flame of faith lighted in each of us, honoring the light each of us brings into the world, rejoicing in the community that we create together. The children will now collect donations for the local food pantries, animal shelters, and the Coalition Against Rape and Abuse.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
A book is provided in the foyer in which you are invited to write whatever joys and sorrows you have as you enter. I will now read what you have shared. June the 4th, Pride Month. This date, 100 years ago, is when UU tradition began the flower communion service, when a Unitarian minister and his wife in 1923, Prague, Czechoslovakia, had their congregants bring a stemmed flower to a common vase and took home a different flower they brought to America in 1940. Welcome, 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 Charlie. So happy to see you. Thank you to the Johnsons for hosting a fabulous circle dinner, and a good time was had by all. Say a prayer of well wishes to my daughter in the UK, and her credit cards aren't working, and she is far from her place. Mommy stuff. Thanks all, Gina. P.S. I trust in the kindness of strangers. Thank you to the C. Wrights and Judy P. for hosting another wonderful circle dinner last year. A great time was had by all with wonderful conversations and laughs. Let us share a quiet time together to reflect on our week. During the musical interlude, you may come forward and place a pebble in the water to acknowledge a personal joy or sorrow.
sunlight on the paper. This is so cool. Wow. Welcome to June. Welcome to summer. Welcome to 10:30 service time, so that you all can go to the beach or work before the heat of the day or the traffic gets really bad. Let's pause for a moment. Set aside our apprehensiveness about all that June is going to throw at us. With open hearts and silenced cell phones, let us be here now. We've shared with stone and water these things weighing on us today. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts sanctify this hour together. Good fortune and bad, safety and danger. As we begin the celebration of LGBT Pride Month in a year of backlash, where those who seek to command and control, where those who would erase our lives are all, erase the lives of all among us who deserve to be proud of their lives. May we choose to celebrate the faces of all. May our ears delight in the authentic voices, and may we all celebrate in gladness as we speak each other's names. How can we know what will happen to women whose bodies are suddenly possessed by political appointees, to children being taught to behave against their own nature? Indeed, we are gathered here in the mystery of this hour, as one strong body, gathered here in struggle, gathered here in power. Whoever you are, whomever you love, as a shared community, may we kindle the spirit of love together. Amen.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing in dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears through all the years, singing.
We will now take a moment to give and receive the morning offering. In a moment, the ushers will come forward to pass the offertory baskets among those who are in attendance. If this is your first time visiting us today, you may let the basket pass, as your presence is gift enough. You can also text a donation to 609-293-4495, or for those who are participating online, please visit uucsjs.org and click on the yellow donate button for ways to donate. Each week we see a small and sometimes great miracle happen as people open their hearts and share their resources with this community of spiritual growth. No matter how you support us, we appreciate you and your generous heart. After all, your donation is what keeps us going. And no matter how those gifts are offered, they are always most gratefully received. The ushers will now accept this morning's offering.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our reading today is number 567 in your hymn notes, To Be of Use by Marge Percy. Please open your hymn notes to the reading. I will read the plain type and ask that you read those in italics. Reverend Charlie will read the words in italics along with you.
That way the folks at home hear somebody else. Very good. Everybody 567?
To be of use. I want to be with people who submerge in the task,
Who go into the fields to harvest and work in the row and pass the bags along.
who stand in the line and haul in their places,
Who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out.
The work of the world is common as mud, botched. It smears the hands, crumbles to dust.
But a thing worth doing, well done, has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident.
Greek amphors for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used.
The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. Forgot about that bell. It's in here somewhere. Oh, there we go. For this morning's topic, are we there? For this morning's topic, I want to start by teaching you a couple of words. Maybe you know them, but I suppose that they'll be new to at least some of you. The first one is pericope. Can you repeat that? Pericope? Excellent, excellent. A pericope is a passage usually in the Bible. It could be a story or a wise saying or a parable, but it's one complete thought. So like the story of the Good Samaritan is a pericope. Bet you didn't know that. This isn't that play. You don't have to repeat it. I'll tell you when to repeat. It's good. Each one of the commandments, there being 10 of them, is a pericope by itself. As Unitarian Universalists, we are free to speak on anything we want on Sunday morning. It could be a bit of poetry. It could be the Sunday comics, a popular movie, or wherever we find inspiration. My inspiration for today, my pericope for today, is a ceramic tile that I saw in an Oakland, California subway station. Now, once you have a pericope, the next job, this is our other word, is to do an exegesis. Can you say that? Exegesis? It's a Jesus with a G, not Jesus with a J. It's exegesis. And exegesis is a close reading with the hope of finding inspiration in the exegetical analysis. So today I am going to exegete a ceramic tile. This particular ceramic tile comes from California. It was a hand-painted ceramic tile, one of many in a wall mural in the Oakland, California subway station. So there's a big set of tiles. And in the center, there's one that explains what they're all about. I'll read you what the center tile says. It says, Firestorm Community Mural Project. This mural is dedicated to the survivors of the 1991 Oakland Hills firestorm. Their stories, expressed here in over 2,000 handmade tiles, reflect and pay tribute to the human spirit and its capacity to overcome tragedy and loss, sponsored by the Office of Mayor, October 1994. So the Oakland firestorm was an incredibly fast-moving fire, which leveled part of the city in a 2-hour period on a Sunday afternoon. At its peak, one house was destroyed every 11 seconds. Many of the murals show something that was lost in the firestorm: a bicycle, a church building, a house. The tile I selected for my reflection today was unique in that it offered advice. And let's see, there's a picture, I think in your order of service you had a little insert of the tile, right? Looks like this. Here we go. It seems to be signed by someone named Marion Baldwin. Marion's tile tells subway riders a deep truth: always use your best china. And the picture shows 6 place settings. I imagine that those plates and goblets were a gift to Marion from someone, perhaps wedding gifts. A gift that was carefully put away until some special occasion. And because it's part of the firestorm mural, I assume that the box of plates and cups was lost when the Oakland Hills burned on October 19th, 1991. It's 32 years ago, roughly. After a large-scale tragedy, sadness persists. As part of my training in the UU Trauma Response Ministry, we learned that almost always a community tragedy will create an emotional trajectory. Fear, sadness, depression, recovery. It could be seen after 9/11. It could be seen after the levee failures in New Orleans and after Superstorm Sandy. It could be seen after the Oakland, California firestorm and the shootings in Sandy Hook or the Pulse nightclub. Even with COVID-19, there's a trajectory of grief that we are traveling. Researchers have noticed that anniversaries of tragedies are the worst. And perhaps those ceramic tiles were created to express the grief on the Oakland Hills Fire's 3rd anniversary, giving voice to the lament. I want to honor the emotions expressed in the mural. We weren't there. We can't know what they were thinking, what they were feeling. Now, some of you may know this already, but shared tragedies like the Oakland firestorm change people. They can cause people to rethink their lives and their purpose. And I'm only speculating that the prophet Marion was transformed as well. Always use your best china. What do these prophetic words mean to you? Where does this tile take you? When I first encountered this great teaching, I thought about my grandmother's Wedgwood plates. They were fine china plates made in Staffordshire, England, which I inherited years ago, and I use them once a year at Thanksgiving. Mostly they just sit in a box. That was my first feeling when I read the words best china. And then I had to consider the two words always use. Always? If I was to use the Wedgwood always, won't it fade and chip and not be worth as much? If I always use the Wedgwood, maybe somebody's going to drop one, and my dozen plate set will become a partial set. Won't that stop this Wedgwood from being my best china and turn it into my everyday china? So I found myself wanting some relief. I wanted to bargain with the prophet Marion. I wanted the words to be, use your best china more often. Because I wanted to be in control of when. I wanted to be able to pick and choose when and with whom it was appropriate to use my best china, and maybe some of you are feeling that way today too. Maybe some of you have heard a saying, I think it's in the Bible, that says, love your enemy. I know I tend to want to change that pericope to tolerate your enemy. Indeed, it's a well-known phenomenon in religion. Over generations, hard instructions are limited, softened, to become more palatable. So this ceramic tile is only from 1994, and it hasn't had time to soften. Time to fade or be rewritten. So I guess whenever I have a guest, I should get my best plates, not the paper ones, which I thought were appropriate for the hamburgers and hot dogs this evening. Instead, I will haul out my best china and that I have, and the best glassware that I have, not the plastic cups, you know, those bright red ones that everybody has these days. My best knives and forks and spoons, and I suppose the little salt cellars and everything else. And why? Because my guest is worth it. It's basic hospitality. The sacred texts of the past are full of stories about hospitality. Any guest may be the Buddha. Any guest coming through the door may be the prophet Elijah. Any visitor may be an angel. Now, actually, I cheated. I don't know if you noticed or not. I modified the words to the sacred text. It doesn't say, whenever you have a guest, use your best china. It says, always use your best china. So that gives me an additional burden. Dinner tonight was going to be macaroni and cheese, but it's now going to be macaroni and cheese on Wedgwood. That way I have to treat myself as if I was the Buddha or Elijah or an angel. Do you treat yourself that way? If not, why not? So one of the cool things about exegesis is an opportunity to read a short passage from different points of view. For example, the Good Samaritan story. Anybody know the Good Samaritan story? Raise your hands if you've ever heard the Good Samaritan story. Okay, that's enough of you, so I'm just going to go with it. That can be seen from a bunch of different angles. The usual audience for Jesus' parables, one might imagine that the audience was somebody who was a priest or a Levite. And when they hear the story, they know that someone like them had just left a man to die. Or it might be heard from a crime victim's point of view. Will anyone be neighborly? Do I have any real friends? Might have been the message of that parable. Or back at the edge of the crowd, someone who was a Samaritan might have been allowed to listen. How could they feel hearing that the hero, the Holy One, the helper of the story was not an Israelite at all, but someone like them, an outcast in the local society? This pericope invites reflection from all of those angles. So let's consider our pericope from different points of view. We've already considered what the host would hear. Use your best china when you have guests would be the obvious way to go with that. We talked about the point of view of one honored by the service. Do we treat ourselves worthy of the best china? Are we worthy of the best china? And possibly the motivations of the Prophet Marion and of the folks in the office of mayor. Let us for a moment attempt to take the point of view of the china itself. Always use your best china. And here the reading by Marge Piercy makes a lot of sense. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, holy vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were meant to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry and a person for work that is real. How does that water pitcher, which you inherited from your Aunt Beatrice, feel sitting up there in the corner cabinet on the top shelf? Does it feel like it wants to be used? How do those Christmas plates feel stacked and doing nothing for 11 and a half months of the year? Can't you make everyday Christmas? The pitcher cries for water to carry and a person for work that is real. Always use your best china. And yet there's more with exegesis. We've neglected the cultural angle. In the Prophet Marion's upper-class suburban community, the words best china would have been common. Wedding presents were specified to match the bride's favorite china pattern, right? Does this metaphor even work for somebody who has never had any Wedgwood? Those who have not had Hollywood-style weddings? When I'm at a minister's meeting and a priest or minister tells the assembled clergy, the Unitarians think, ... my teeth grind a little bit. When I hear people say what lesbians, gays, bisexual, and transgendered persons want, I'm simply sad. If it's not your culture, don't assume you don't know. You don't know. So as a replacement for the best china metaphor, I actually don't know what the right translation would be. Maybe something like your grandmother's quilt that you inherited, something of value that you love so much you never use it. It's just like knowing the implicit meaning of the word Samaritan. Each culture needs to write its own translation for what the words mean. The words best china happen to have worked for the Prophet Marion's cohort. And then there's another one, there's the big one. What do the words mean that aren't there? My assumption had always been that the words before the words on the tile were something like, don't be a fool, always use your best china. That preamble that didn't get printed makes the information transaction on the ceramic tile one of a parent lecturing a foolish child, like me, one who doesn't have the awareness of the tragedy that's coming. But the preamble isn't there. I imposed it because my Christian cultural context, where the speaker of a pericope is smarter, wiser, more holy, and I am not worthy. They have only to say the word, and I shall obey. The ceramic tile doesn't say that at all. Unitarian Universalist pulpits don't say that at all. There's no reason to assume that our transaction with Marion Baldwin is one of parents speaking down to a child. What if instead of prepending the words of parental authority, we use words of curiosity? Instead of compelling me to get out the Wedgwood for macaroni and cheese tonight, what if the Prophet Marion is saying something like, how would your life be different if you were open to the possibility of always using your best china? What if she was posing an adult situation for adult discussion? Without shame, without shoulding. As Ken Patton described as the assembly in the house of worship, what if she was looking for those voices that stir the surrounding air? Those people who are with us seek the hidden reckonings of the hour. What if Marion Baldwin was not pontificating? What if Marion Baldwin was speaking of shared possibility? What if Marion Baldwin was speaking of love? My struggle with these prophetic words began when I missed a San Francisco-bound subway train and had 20 minutes to waste in the Oakland BART station. And these words shape how I make decisions today. They take me out of myself, and they've taught me how to see every day as a day of celebration. Celebration, whether good news or bad news, not a day to be endured. So where do these words take you? Always use your best. Wait. There's one other part of exegesis. We have to examine alternate word meanings, places where you made assumptions, places where I made assumptions. Because I saw the title when I was standing in the Oakland BART station by myself, I assumed that the word your meant your. Charlie, use your personal china, it said. But maybe it's plural. Maybe Marion Baldwin is saying, hey, Oakland, always use your best china. Treat everyone as if they were Elijah. Or America, always use your best china. Assume we are a nation of angels. How would the world be different if we all always used our best china? Amen. get some perfect music here.
We're going to ask everyone to please rise in body and spirit to sing with the choir. The choir is going to sing through the song once to refresh everyone's memory. And then after the choir sings through the song once, we are going to sing it through the song twice with the congregation. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Everyone. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Our closing words are by May Sarton. Help us to be always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit, who know that without darkness nothing comes to birth, and without light nothing flowers. We extinguish this flame. Warmth of community, the fire of commitment, these we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I want to thank Katie for singing this beautiful song, and you are welcome to sing along. I've done this before, and whenever I do, people seem to really love it. But I do want to tell you that you should really listen to Katie's beautiful voice also.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. star. Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? I think they're one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La-dee-dee-da-da-da. The lovers, the dreamers, and me.
We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting us today. Now let us share in a moment of silent reflection to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives.